Hello everyone, Thor here. I'm going to talk about Silent Hill 2 Remake. I beat it the other day. I think it officially came out today, but I got the deluxe so I could play it a little bit early. I got it for PC. I'm going to talk about my experience with it, some of the differences. There won't be spoilers. I know the game came out, 20 years ago. I still won't really talk about spoilers, but I'll talk about a few boss fights and some things that stuck out to me. Anyway, let's get into it. In the intro, I had the vinyl behind me, and music's very important, especially in horror games, especially this one. They got it right. They used some of the same songs, they remixed them, remastered them. It does a good ambience, the songs are good. With the deluxe version, you get the soundtrack. I'll probably grab the vinyl if it ever comes out. Silent Hill 2, the original one, even, is one of the best horror gaming vinyls out there. It's just a really good way to set the mood. It's got a perfect soundtrack for the game, and there are definitely some tracks that stick out. Starts off pretty much the same. They don't change too much of the story. They add areas. I think the voice acting was really good. They did a great job with that. The game looks great. Getting to Silent Hill, they had the whole path you walk down. They expanded that. I thought that was pretty cool. Starting off in the graveyard, meeting Angela. It starts off really strong, really gets you invested, and I pretty much was through the whole thing. I think I've already put 20 plus hours into it. I'm on my second or third playthrough. I'm probably gonna play some more after I do this. I'm gonna try to get more endings. I've only got like 2 of them now. The combat was a little bit clunky, as it was in the first one, because you're playing a normal guy. They're not like trained or anything, so I think that's part of it. I think they're really inspired by the Last of Us combat, even though you don't have a breakable melee weapon. It's just the way you looked for resources, and the way it felt kind of reminded me of Last of Us, which nothing wrong with that. It works. A really popular series. They have some really cool Easter eggs. You can find the Comic Sans sign from the remaster collection. You can see something really cool if you look in the back of James' car in the beginning. That was a nice touch. They really knew the lore. There's these memo things, these like memories from the past you can look at, and it's callbacks that didn't make this game but were in the original. So that was kind of a cool touch. I played through the original about a year ago. I did the PC fan enhanced edition. That's a really good edition to play too, if you've never played Silent Hill 2. Maybe I'll have to do a stream or a video about that sometime. They also had the original map from the original Silent Hill 2. I think it's inside the apartment complex, but you could find it. It was just kind of on a bulletin board, which I thought was a cool touch. There's 2 extra endings. I'm sure someone's already figured them out. I found parts of them. I think I know how to do it. So in this playthrough, once I get to the hotel, I plan to knock out a few of the endings and probably get most of them in this run. It's the advantage of having manual saves. They got the atmosphere right. The one knock I'll have is I wish there were more segments where you're walking around Silent Hill. There's only really 2 chapters you do. And then all the other chapters, when you're in Silent Hill, it's in the nightmare world. Town's a character in itself, so I feel like there should have been a little more exploration of the town of Silent Hill. It seems that once you get past a certain point, it's pretty much just straightforward. And I know the second game was kind of the same way, so maybe that's why they did it. But I think the expansions are welcome. They changed a lot of the boss fights. The bosses that you fight are the same, but the sequences are different. The fight with Eddie, I think, was a really good change. The Abstract Daddy fight was kind of weird, though, because it definitely needs to be tweaked for like performance, I think. I don't know. I have a 3090 in my computer, and it was killing my frames, whatever they're trying to do. So I'm sure that could be fixed in that patch. There were a couple areas where I had drops and stuff, and I'm sure this game will keep receiving patches and get better as it goes on. I didn't have too many issues. I got stuck at one part and lost a half-hour progress. That was kind of frustrating. But outside of that, I didn't experience too bad glitches on the Steam version, at least, which is great. It's good to see a game come out and work. You don't always get that. The Abstract Daddy fight was kind of drawn out, and it's vastly different where the other one's in a claustrophobic room. Many of the fights are changed up like that, some for the better, some not as much. But I thought I had cool moments. Pyramid Head, of course, makes his appearance. He's definitely like very sinister and scary when you first see him in the apartments. He's behind iron bars, and your radio's going crazy. And I just looked up, and I was like, oh, there's Pyramid Head. So that was a cool moment. I'm pretty sure that was in the second one as well. They had a couple chase scenes with him and a few parts where he's like in the area kind of chasing you. They didn't overuse him, which is great. I kind of hate parts in Resident Evil where like you got to just sit in a room and hide because you got Mr. X chasing you or whatever. So they didn't overdo that. It's like one part you find his room and He's kind of just running around, but really easy to evade. And then you have the fights with Pyramid Head, of course, and they did that right. The new explorable areas were great. Town looked great. I think Bloober did a great job with this. I think Bloober, with someone else's story, can do horror great. They had some really great moments that jumped out at me. There's a couple in the prison. There was a couple of good jump scares. They didn't use too many jump scares, but there was a couple. They were well placed. Can be effective if used correctly. They built tension in parts where it needed it, and I think they did a great job with it. I'm a huge fan of the original Silent Hill 2. It's one of my favorite horror games of all time. I've got like the hoodie. I've got a friend that loves Silent Hill 1, and I think I converted him to liking Silent Hill 2 better because he didn't really play it. He's loving the remake as well. I think he's just getting to the end now. Shout out to Topher if you see this. I think Bloober did a good job with the story. They kept it intact, added some good features. The camera work was good. The over-the-shoulder look is perfect for Silent Hill. It's worked out well for the Resident Evil one, so why fix it if it's not broke? We need to get a Dino Crisis remake. I'd love to see them remake 1, and then I'd like to see them make their own Silent Hill game. I think that would be interesting. Hopefully they get more work in it. I think with the success of this, they will. Seems like it's getting great reviews. Seems like a lot of people are playing it, which I think they should. It's a great horror story. I hope the movie's great that's coming out. I hope Silent Hill is back because I played this game when I was 11 and it blew my 11-year-old mind. Big fan of it for a long, long time. Glad we got this version. You can always go back to the old one too, and looking forward to more Silent Hill. Got some more horror movies coming and horror games, so I'll see you on the next one. Thor out.